Okay, another episode of 101 Small Business Mastermind. I'm Peter Brousseau. I'm here with Dick Bentley. Say good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Mark, Frank. Good morning, everybody.
And Mark Giardino.
Good morning, Peter.
Say good morning. Okay, great. Frank?
Good morning, Frank. How are you?
Good morning, everyone. It's a great day here in the neighborhood.
Yes, and we're going to start off with, I'm going to do some more Google Analytics stuff and tie the bounce rate. Well, I'm going to start sharing screens here, so you guys let me know when you've got my screen.
Got it.
Okay. Dick, you got that?
Not yet. No. Yep. Got it now.
Okay. All right. So this is back on one of my sites, still percolating along here, not doing much of anything. But the important part, again, was here's a bounce rate at 0.2%. And again, I have friends and clients that are bounce rates of 50, 56, 54. And what does that really mean for anybody? And a bounce rate basically is when somebody comes into a website and they come in thinking or looking for something that it isn't, then they bounce back off. And that's usually an end result of you not using your keywords properly or not having the proper keywords in the first place. And this is my self-defense weapon site, pdws.biz. And so, you know, my keywords are self-defense weapon, things like that, legal self-defense weapons. And so when people run across a reference or they search for a self-defense weapon, and I pop up, then they come over and it is a self-defense weapon site. So what the bounce rate really says is that in fact, for all the customers that are coming there, they absolutely are coming there for the right reason, and that's really important to understand. Conversion on a website basically means that for every 100 visitors you have, you're going to have essentially, almost by nature, a 0.5% conversion. So 10% of 100 is 10, 1% obviously is 1, so 0.5% is half of a person per that 100 rate will actually buy your product. So one of the big things you look at right off the bat is what is the bounce rate? Are we in fact driving the right type of traffic to the site? And then once they're on the site, based on our traffic that we're driving, we can look at conversion rates at 0.5% to, if you're really good, at 1.5%. And then there's some techniques that we'll talk about next week that actually basically claim to go from 3 to 12% conversion. So the first thing you really want to look at is your bounce rate. The second thing you want to look at is how long are they staying on the site? What's your average duration? And I have 3 minutes and 43 seconds. That's pretty good. And so they're really interested in the material. You'd like to see that at 10 minutes, mind you, but if this was a very short time, then the type of ad copy, the type of videos, the type of things you're trying to capture their imagination on the front page is not working for you. So that your next good measurement here of a good website is trying to get an average. Next thing you want to look at also is right over here. And this is returning visitors, which are in green, and new visitors are in blue. And you want a ratio just about like this. You want to bring in a lot of people. You're going to capture, in this case, I capture 34% of all the people that come in the first time come back again and look. That's a really, really good number. So it's telling me that my material is captivating enough that they're bookmarking and coming back for another look. And that's an incredibly good ratio to have right there. If you have just everybody returning and nobody coming in, then you probably have a very non-active site in one way because nobody's finding you, so you need to spend your time out there in social media with your blogs, your off-page SEO to try to get that ratio back up. So that's very interesting. Next piece of the puzzle is take a look at the age of the people coming to the site. Now this is somewhat surprising to me that a majority of my people are 25 to 34, but the next group is 18 to 24. This is a self-defense weapon site, which is saying that these people that are coming in are looking for something to protect themselves, and it diminishes with age. Now, it's also interesting that most of my target audience that I've really wanted is kind of in the last three group here. So I'm not doing well on my social media to drive in people who are, as you get older, when you're too old to run, you got to fight. That's my old saying. And so we need an average. We need an edge. We need some way to be able to leverage something, because as we get older, we get slower, and we're up against this 18 to 24-year-old attack group, or this whole group right in here. So I'd like to one day see these kind of more lopsided, that we're getting that in there. But it's important. Now, if you're going to sell to this younger group, my sales message ought to be more pointed towards them if I want to increase my sales, my conversion. So that's interesting. And then the next piece I want to share, which I think I did last week, was the gender. And let me see if I can get to the gender part here. That's age. Why am I here's gender, and my gender's not showing, but it showed earlier.
There, it just came up.
I'm not even seeing it yet. Okay, it's funny you can see it and I don't. But you see that the majority are males, and the minority are females. And so here it is right here. And so it's almost 50-50. And I'd like to see more of the female side than the male side, because my self-defense weapon is really coined to leverage or to level the playing field of aggression, and females certainly need that more than males do. So in my own demographics here of my analytics, it starts to show exactly what's happening, and it will help me to fine-tune where I need to go. And the last one is interesting. Where are the categories coming from? Sports, individual sports, running and walking. There's some computer stuff, some individual sports, food and drink, travel. And I put out a lot of stuff in the travel area. And you can see that that's not working well for me. I do put out majority of my stuff in the sports, related sports, stuff like that, so that is working. So this is how you kind of use Google Analytics to help look at your site and fine-tune your site and create that sales funnel again we talked about last week, but more importantly to understand the bounce rate and how it applies to your keywords and getting them to stick on the site, which is a measure of your bounce rate. If you have a high bounce rate, they're not sticking. And so you want your site to be, in our terms, sticky. They stick there, they move around, they look some more, they're more interested, they click on this. You want them to stick on the site. And so those initial stats here, like the bounce rate, average sessions, durations, things like that, are really, really important to take a look at. Also, and we'll go down through the languages and the countries and the mobiles and the operating systems next week. But anyway, that's kind of sort of my push out on Google Analytics today. Anybody have any questions on that?
I always have comments. And,
okay, Frank?
I have some comments. Like Dick, pretty much my entire career was spent in the sales side of the business, of the corporate world, and then of my own business. And I always considered marketing the sales prevention department. Those guys were just, they were just doing esoteric stuff. All I wanted was good leads, and they were building awareness, and I could care less about that. I just wanted leads. But and I'm leading to a point. The point of what I'm seeing with here is that back then, and being old, I can say back then, we didn't know. We were guessing how good our stuff was. After X amount of time, could be a day, a week, a month, or 6 months, whatever it is with Google Analytics, there's no more guessing.
Mm-hmm.
You are now reacting, fine-tuning, evaluating, testing, and improving. Wow, that's huge. That is huge, and I had no idea all this was that available that easily. Well, it's not easy to do the work, but easy to analyze it, I guess. and it's extremely powerful. Those are the comments I wanted to make.
Well, Peter, I have a question that kind of
Mhm.
Frank kind of touched on a little bit is uh, how long do you need to allow to establish that the data you're getting is trend and not just a photo of an incident of a day or a week? How long should you look at these before you decide to adjust your program?
I'd say 1 to 3 months. The good news, the bad news with the internet is whatever you put out there, it takes time for it to get out there, just like the agelesssecret.com. This next month I'm going to start pushing our products out there, and everybody wants to see immediate hits. Well, the web isn't that way. It's a long distance runner. That's the bad news. It takes a while to get into that and get it moving. It has a lot of inertia to it, right? Then
Yeah.
the good news is that once you get it moving, you can't stop it. So there's good news and bad news with that. And so 1 to 3 months, you should probably not mess with it. Put it up, watch the data, and it's a kind of a two-part thing, Dick, because you do your best guess for your landing page, your home page, your sales funnel, and your ad copy and your videos, and it's got to sit there and do its job. The other side is the off-page SEO stuff, where you putting your stuff out there. You're actively blogging your Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Reddit, etc. That's what starts to drive the traffic. And then once the traffic comes to the site, then you're looking at now you're looking at how well your front page and your sales funnel's doing. So for 1 to 3 months, nothing's going to much happen. But then you're going to start to see traffic. And then those stuff that we're looking at right now is really, really important. I've had this site up for 2004. So I've got a big inertia out there already. It's been 10 years. So I can change stuff and within a few weeks start to see what's happening. In my case, but normally 1 to 3 months, don't do anything. Just watch it and push out on social media.
I think that's a key point because you get people say like me or Frank or some that doesn't truly understand what you're doing, and they hire you. You put together a nice program from it, and 2 weeks later you're saying we've got to change it. It's not working. Right? So I just wanted to get that out, that it takes time and patience, and you got to obviously you look at it as you're going along, but don't overreact to something that you get that may be what you want.
Well, you mentioned yesterday too. We had a nice conversation about SEP. You wanna share that social media conversation?
Yeah, I could do or I was going to do it later, but last week I talked about the top 10 YouTube videos for entrepreneurs to watch, and I've watched a few of them. I watched one with Steve Jobs' commencement address at Stanford, which was tremendously inspirational. Great speech. And then I watched one which is important to me, is how to craft your 30-second elevator pitch or networking introduction. And I have adjusted my pitch, but there's a common thread through all of these I've watched and I shared with Peter that even though the way we go to market has changed dramatically and evolved over the years, the reason a client will do business with you has not changed. And Peter asks the question all the time as CEOs, why do customers or clients buy from you or do business with you? And he gets 10 million answers other than the one that you add value to their life. So listen to all these. I've listened to all 10 of them. Actually, I've listened to a lot more of them. And the common theme that I've gotten, no matter how they say it, it boils down to you better bring your first thing your customer should see from you is that you bring value to his business, his life, or whatever it is. And if you got 30 seconds, you better get that out there in 30 seconds. And I've totally changed when I meet people how I do my so-called 30-second elevator pitch and how I explain what I do in business. So I shared that with Peter yesterday, and I thought it was kind of good because we talk here all the time. What Peter does, and I know Frank has talked about how the world has evolved and how they do business, and you only have 10 seconds to grab his attention and all this stuff. But the bottom line is, you better be bringing something of value to him, or you could say all you want, and it's not going to matter.
Yeah, the point in fact, I guess I'll put it my way. Social media is about establishing a relationship, stupid. It's not the number of followers. It's not the number of likes. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with building a relationship with your followers, which then builds a loyal base for your business. And unless you build a relationship, the rest doesn't much matter. And that's what Seth was starting to say, is that no matter how many Twitter followers you have and Facebook likes you have, that's worthless, absolutely worthless, and you're missing completely the object of social media. Now, let's go back 100 years. Okay, we had local. I'm getting off topic, sorry guys, but it's important because the social media side of life is what drives the traffic to your site, which connects to this Google Analytics. So it's important that you understand that. But you go back 100 years and we had 3 butchers in town that we could do business with. And ultimately, your family did business with one of them. And you knew his kids, and you knew his problems, and you knew his business. And even if he cost more than the other ones, you were loyal to him because you built a relationship with him. And relationship selling back in the old days is what it's all about. And it's still all about, except for it's transitioned itself on steroids into the social media world. So that was what I was after. And Dick, my statement to CEOs are, do you know why people pay you money? And you just sit there and you watch them, and they'll say, oh, because I have a PhD, and oh, because I have this, or oh, because I have that. And that has nothing to do with it. Absolutely zero. It has everything to do, people pay you money because you add value in their life. And when you stop adding value, they're going to stop paying you. That simple. And that transitions right out onto the social media as well. Okay.
Yeah, Peter, just to jump in, I didn't mention this. I should have. I also told Peter I was watching a 2-minute video of Seth Godin at a question and answer session, and a guy got up and said, "Is social media good for business? And if so, which one is good?" And that's where Peter's talking about. His answer was, you probably are following me and a friend of me on Facebook. He says, I have millions of them, but you're not my friend. You don't follow me. You just, a lot of people don't want to hit ignore and all. He said, until I start giving you information that's real, and we build a relationship over that social media, and we start communicating with each other, and I show you some value that I bring that would want you to do business with me, social media is a waste of time. And it goes back again once to the thing that Peter has stressed to me since I met him, and we got into this whole thing, that social media is a conversation, and it's a two-way conversation. And I don't have millions of followers or whatever, but I probably have, I don't know, maybe 400 people that so-called follow me on Twitter. I maybe have 2 or 3 that really matter. So that's his point, and I think Peter's point is it's over the years it has changed, but the process is still the same. You did business with a person that you thought brought value with, and you built a relationship with. How many? In the old days, we all had the neighborhood bar. Remember? Cheers, Frank. You want to go to the bar, everybody knows your name. Well, that was social media 25, 30 years ago, and now it's just all done over the internet. So, yeah, I think those are great points, Peter. So,
okay. Anybody else want to weigh in on that before we head over to Frank?
Oh, I have so much.
I want to mention something about,
Go ahead, Mark.
Frank. I want to mention something about Google Analytics again, Peter. Also, I find when I do my SEO analysis, part of your SEO analysis does ask, are you connected with your with Google Analytics? And Google Analytics gives you a code number that you can link into even your own site, into other SEO analysis. So it's a two-way street with Google Analytics. You have your information that Peter was showing, but it also helps your SEO because you are connected with Google.
Yeah, you can even get, I mean, and Google Analytics is free. So if you have a blog, you can get a tracking number just for the blog. If you have, I mean, you can place these all over the place, and then you can go crazy by overanalyzing things too. And that harkens back to Dick's question: is how often do you really take any action on what you're seeing? And you got to let it sit out there for a couple of 3 months. But interesting enough, on agelesssecret.com, I put up a blog, and we're actually having more traffic on the blog than we are on the website. Think that out. That's unfortunately not a good thing in one way, but it's pretty cool in the other,
Yeah.
So,
Great.
all right, Frank, you wanna head on over to the any more comment and then head the twin?
Well, yeah, I'll just make one comment because I won't be able to sleep tonight unless I say what I'm going to say. But then I'd like to drop it because we could spend the rest of the hour talking about this. I believe a couple of things. And by the way, and I've been following Seth Godin since '98, '99, I guess. So I've had one email exchange with him back about 10 years ago, 12 years. So I'm a big believer in his. The comment. Let me make this comment. Prior to the internet, we could follow the teachings of Dale Carnegie and Tony Robbins, and it worked extremely well. Every year since 1993 and every year from now on, the philosophy of how to win friends and influence people and those other things that Dale does and what Tony Robbins does are becoming less and less effective. I believe we're becoming a more ADD world. And unless your name is Cindy Crawford, I don't want to be your friend. Okay? I don't want to have a beer with you. I want to know is what can you do to improve my life, whether it be business, personal, professional, or spiritual. That's all I care about. I don't care if you're a jerk, I'll probably not like you. But if you're acceptable, that's okay to me. I don't want to be your friend. Just tell me, and I'm going to gauge you on three things. The information you bring me. By the way, I have access to Google. So you've got to be novel. You've got to tell me something I don't know. You've got to be insightful. Give me your point of view. And you've got to be intriguing. Make me want to learn more from you. If you do, I will follow you. If not, you're out of here. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Anybody else before we head over to Frank's twin?
Well, I gotta say something.
I love it.
Jane, here's a Jane moment.
No, I think I think we're saying the same things, Frank. I really do. I mean, you don't use social networking for business or whatever, but a lot of people do. But the bottom line is exactly what you just said. If you don't have something to offer, you're not going to get your attention. And that was the same thing 25, 30 years ago as is today. The vehicles of getting your attention are different, but you still have to bring something of value to the table. Or you're not going to pay an iota of attention to them.
Yeah, and I think that harkens back to if you don't add value in people's life, that's why they pay you money. They're going to leave, and I think that's the short of it is you got to add value in people's life. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just one response to Jane. On this.
I always thought you were Jane. He's Dan.
Okay. Okay. You can bring value, but if you're telling me stuff I already know from Google, my own research, I don't need you for information. What I need you is for the new stuff that Google doesn't tell me. Bring me something new, insightful, and intriguing. Dick, I'll listen to you for 20 minutes. Bring me something that is a regurgitation of the first page on Google. You've lost me because I already tell me something I don't know, or to quote Bonnie Raitt, give us something to talk about. Anyway,
let me weigh in on that a second.
There we go.
Okay.
Let me just say this about that really quickly. I mean, stumble upon is we mentioned it last week, a great asset to finding stuff out that other people don't know. mainly because if you do a Google search, people look on the first or second page. The stuff that stumble upon might be at the 100th page, but extremely valuable in the topic line. And so you're just by doing a Google search, basically you're allowing Google to sift out the good SEOs from the bad SEOs, but the bad SEOs doesn't mean that they have bad data. So I want to mention that sources like stumble upon phenomenal sources of stuff you might not ever catch through Google. But go ahead, Dick.
I was just going to say, we're in agreement because if I contact you and give you regurgitated information, I'm not adding value. If I contact you and I give you the latest, greatest thing that's going to change your life, I'm adding value and you'll listen. So I don't think we're disagreeing here. Is all I'm saying.
We agree. We agree.
And I agree that I hope people that watch this and listen to this get the same thing. We're adding value to their life. We're telling them stuff they just can't get anywhere else, and in a condensed package, and a very Jane and Dan oriented, debatable package, which adds the contrast and the intrigue, as Frank would say, character, intrigue, value.
And I'd like to make a comment, Frank, about what one of the main challenges for PalmSpringSport.com was exactly what Frank said. The information's out there on Google. What could PalmSpringSport.com bring to the table that you would want to click PalmSpringSport.com and read it? So again, being insightful of the Coachella Valley, I had to bring content that was different, and images, and sort of the home customized feeling. And again, that's an everyday challenge for me. And what we want to bring to Sports Refer is also the same idea, is we want to bring insightful, different content that people will click on and stay on our website for, the goal is 3 minutes and above.
Okay, Frank.
You want the answer to that question, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. Amazon me. Learn about me and do what Amazon does when I go to look at books. Frank, based on what you've done in the past, what you told me about you and what you've bought, here's 3 things that you may not know about that are available in Coachella Valley or Denver or wherever your sites are located. If you Amazon me, I can't make a decision until I check with you one more time. If you know something else that I got to know before I decide what I'm going to do with my weekend recreation. So if you can, and there's a way of doing that. Quick story. One of my careers, I was a managing director, and that's like they use that term in India, of a development house in India for a social learning website. And we had a group come visit us and gave us a presentation out of Dallas. And this had to be 98, 97, 98. And what they did is, and here was their premise, Google is so good at what they do that they've become worthless. And here's what he said. He says, look up something on Google and you'll get hundreds of thousands of different things, and they'll rank them based on some criteria that Google doesn't tell anybody about on the first 2 or 3 pages. What this company was doing out of Dallas, they said, hey, Dick Bentley, I know how old you are. I know what you're interested in because every time you learn, I update your profile. Based on people like you from Connecticut, your age, who went to this school, who spent time in distribution of electronic components, when they looked at something like this, here's the stuff they were most interested in. So I've taken the 150,000 items on Google, I've narrowed it down to the top 22 that people like you, Dick Bentley, are interested in. Now, wouldn't that be valuable to you? And that's what they were doing. And Mark, if you could do that on your side, you've got a gold mine because no one else is doing it. And that was my last one.
All right, and let me jump in. I was just recently on Netflix. No, I'm backing this up. Netflix, I chose a movie to put on my view list, and they came up with 20 movies that are very similar, the same genre. If you like this, you're going to like that. It was fascinating because then I click one of those, and another whole panel would come up, and shoot, I spent an hour selecting all kinds of movies for the next year to watch. But you're absolutely right, Frank. That's a very powerful tool.
And contrary to popular belief, the internet is making everything more personal, not less personal. I want to know stuff geared strict because I am the center of my universe. Anyways, so
you know, they used to get upset when you use Google Gmail or even Yahoo. They would actually scan your emails and look for keywords. Then they'd offer you ads along the side based on the types of things you've been writing about. Everybody got upset with that. And I said, you know, God, that's wonderful stuff. I want ads that are relevant to what I'm interested in. I don't want to. I mean, you go to Facebook and because I'm single, you get all these single women. I'm not interested in that, you know. But if it's martial arts or if it's you know, web stuff, I'm really interested in that. Give me those ads. I'm not interested in the other stuff. And so, you know, that whole profiling. Oh my God, did I say that word? Profiling. Oh shoot. You know, that's gold. And I only want relevance in my life. I don't want any noise. And the rest of it's just noise as far as I'm concerned. But I agree with you, Frank.
okay,
Well,
cool.
Peter, I want to say at Sports Refer, we're categorizing the ads according to your interest. So when you go to Sports Refer, you have your taglines, your interests: martial arts, internet, marketing, social media. So then what we're going to bring to the table as when you're on Sports Refer is the advertisement towards your tags, towards your interests, and things to that nature.
Yeah, that's the way it should be done. You know, I mean, otherwise it's just nonsense. You know,
Right.
nonsense, noise.
And I just want to say, and I think that's good on the advertiser's end too, where
Oh yeah.
where we say, look, we're targeting people that with the same interests, so we're only
Correct.
showing your advertisement to the people with the interests. So it's a great win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I always talk about, you know, scrolling billboards is part of my history, and I can guarantee if something moves, you're going to look at it. But if your ad is about beef, oh, beef, that's a good idea. What a lead in to my dry beef. Okay, all right, we'll come back to that. But if you have a beef ad, but you're putting those ads in front of vegetarians, vegans, they're not interested. You know, so it harkens back to what we're saying and what has been done in the past. The people beat up was scanning your stuff to find out what your interests were and then moving ads in accordingly. But all right, go ahead, Frank. We're up to
Are we ready?
Twin.
Are we ready for Twin?
I'm
Twin.
going to get a cup of coffee while you start, but I can still hear you. So go for it, Frank.
Okay, that's important. Okay, Twin, this week in the news, small business lessons. Twin number one, headline, Google attacks Amazon with trucks and bucks. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, we talked about Amazon a while ago, is the ultimate disruptor. And son of a gun, Jeff Bezos is now in the early stages of being disrupted himself. In the last 10 years alone, Amazon has spent almost $14 billion, that's what it be, $billion building regional warehouses. He wants to have as many goods as close as possible to as many people as possible, along with Amazon's Prime, so that if you saw something on Amazon, they would deliver it to you free of charge, free delivery service, not free of charge, free delivery service, within 1 to go to 3 days. He even talked about having drones to deliver it, hopefully the same day service, and that was 5-8 years away, who knows. So he has spent all this money on warehouses, on technology, on inventory. Everybody thought, who could match Amazon with that kind of investment in what he's done in warehouse technology and market expertise? And the answer may be Google. Who has more money than Google? I don't know who has more money than Google. Google is now partnering with retailers like Costco, Whole Foods, Target, and they're using the local stores as their source of inventory. So if you go to Google Shopping Express and you like something, they'll do the price comparison. You know what? I'd like to buy that laptop, and in my area, the cheapest price is probably at Office Max down on 111. Google has shoppers at Office Max or close to Office Max that will go in, buy the item for you, bring it to a central delivery point within an hour or two, and have it shipped out to you hopefully in the same day. So even though Google must have personnel in stores, they do not have the cost of massive warehouses. They do not have the cost of carrying all that inventory, and they do not have the cost of having all the personnel in all those warehouses managing all that inventory. Now, this is just beginning. Who will win? I don't know. Time will tell, but this is going to be fun to watch. Two giants, two Godzillas banging each other, okay? And I believe the consumer will be the ultimate winner. So we talked about earlier about Amazon, and I said, okay, what's the small business lessons on this? Number one, if you can be an Amazon, great. But Amazon has done two things which is kind of contradictory to what small business owners are doing that I believe we can learn from. Okay. Small business lesson number one. Most small businesses are taught that once a customer has decided to buy and they're at checkout, before you let them go, make all these recommendations of upsells, other items they can buy, and that kind of thing. Just prior to checkout to increase the size of the order. Amazon does just the opposite. Here's what Amazon does. They say, Mark Giardino is ready to buy. I've got 5 things I bet you Mark would be interested in. Their studies have shown that if I offer Mark 2 or 3 or 4 of these 5 things, Mark's going to say, wow, I never thought I would like that. Let me think about it and I'll come back later and buy it.
Too many choices.
Too many choices. What Amazon says, tell you what, Mark Giardino, yeah, we're going to sell you whatever it is. Oh, by the way, your order's been processed. Thank you very much. You'll get a receipt. By the way, here's 3 other things I think you may be interested in. They've already got your order. They've already got your money. They've already got your commitment. And chances are you'll buy those 2 things because we'll add it to the same order before we ship it out. Wow, that's a great lesson. That is a great lesson. You don't confuse the buyer. Once they've decided to buy, take their money and then try to sell them something else.
Frank, can I pause you? Frank, can I pause you right there?
Yes.
Okay, very similar. I standing in we all stand in grocery lines, right? And they have the impulse buys at the last moment, right?
Yep.
And I always thought about how could I do that on the web? Well, on the Defender site, I get the order, just like you say, right? And I get notification of the order, and I send them out an immediate email that says, oh, by the way, these are on sale too, and no shipping. I'll just throw it right in the bag. Do you know how much that increased my sales by over 30%? But it was after the sale was done. Very, very cool. Okay, sorry,
after
Frank.
The sale, right? And again, and I said I was always read and was taught that you do it prior to just clicking the final checkout. You try and increase the size of the order. You're confusing. Okay, number 2. Amazon uses 2 layers of authentication. And I'm on Amazon at least once a day, if not more often. And whenever I click Amazon, go Amazon.com, based on obviously the device I'm using, it says, hey, Frank, welcome back. By the way, if you're not Frank, click here. But it's Frank. It says, hey, Frank, hey, here's the last things you bought. What can we do for you? I don't have to sign in. It could be my wife. It could be the guy who stole my computer. Who cares? And I do my looking, my shopping. I decide to buy. Before I go to checkout, it says, okay, Frank, we want to make sure that you're really franking it because Amazon offers one click buy, by the way, which is awesome. They said, now we want you to sign with your password, username and password and so forth. So, okay, yeah, Frank, it's you. You want to buy this? And then they go through the process. So the first layer of authentication keeps them permanently signed in so that they can browse and I can make recommendations to them. Only when they're ready to buy do I ask them to verify who they are. Very, very clever.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for me to get on. So the small business lesson here is make it easy to shop, okay, because I'm always signed on. Second business lesson, make it safe and fast to buy. And I think those are 2 great lessons. Now, if Google Shopping can do this, Jeff Bezos is going to have a challenge on his head, and I can't wait to see this heavyweight boxing match go on. It's going to be fascinating. So that's twin number 1. Twin number, the cupcake craze is on its way out. What the hell does that mean? Crumb's Bake Shop, which is the country's largest specialty cupcake chain, filed for bankruptcy this week. Crumb's Bake Shop was based in New York, founded in 2003 by Mia and Jason Bauer, I assume their brother and sister, husband and wife, and they did an IPO in 2011. Now, the cupcake craze became famous because of one scene in Sex and the City when Miranda and whoever Sarah Jessica Parker's role is were at I think it was a place called Sprinkles. They were buying specialty cupcakes, and Crumbs took advantage of that and did great well. At one point, they had 79 locations.
Wow.
And they, as of this week, prior to filing bankruptcy, they were down to 48. They were selling giant cupcakes for $4.50 each, and they were selling colossal cupcakes at $25 each, which they set up to 6 people. Their stock hit as high as $13 per share, and the day they filed bankruptcy, it was down to 13 cents per share. In 2012, Crumb's Cupcake lost $10 million. In 2013, Crumb's Bake Shop lost $18 million. They interviewed the owner, who, by the way, is also a real estate investor. This is prior to filing bankruptcy. It had me maybe 6 months ago. And here's a quote he made with it, which I think is a small business lesson. He says, in every one of our stores daily, we carry 75 different varieties of cupcakes. Why? He says, because we want everybody to be able to come into the store and get their favorite cupcake every day, guaranteed. Well, that is a lot of varieties for each store to make.
A lot of inventory.
They've got to buy ingredients for, they've got to buy bake special for, they've got to sell to the possible buyers because cupcakes have a short shelf life. So I believe that is what caused them to go bankrupt. Now, interesting side note, yesterday, the latest news is there's a TV show on CNBC called The Prophet. You ever watch that?
I was just going to mention that to you.
Yeah, Marcus Lemonis.
Yes,
who
great guy.
I'm a big fan of.
Me too.
He and another investor went offered to bail out Crumb's Bake Shop. So and if you watch The Prophet, by the way, it's back in 3 months, 2 or 3 months. He invested in a candy shop, and he's going to tie this candy shop into the Crumb's cupcake business. So we have to see how that works. But the 2 lessons that I got out of the cupcake bankruptcy was, number 1, you cannot please everyone. If you do, I believe that's a recipe for failure. Lesson number 2 is select your target audience and charm the hell out of them. Charm the hell out of them. Manageable, profitable, exciting, fun, and those are my twin topics for this week. Thank you.
All right. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, I would like to, because I've seen a lot of these cupcake places that charge a fortune for really good cupcakes, and Frank's point, they have 3 or 4 cases full of different varieties of cupcakes. That when you go in, it's overwhelming. It makes your choice to the point where you just pick a couple because you're embarrassed standing there saying, "I'll have one of these or one of those, one of these." And I think to Frank's point of don't try to please everyone. I think in today's world, with all that's going on and all, I think that if you limit what you offer customers and focus on that, your chances of success are 10 times greater. And I'll just take it to a hamburger place I was in day before yesterday, In-N-Out Burger in California. It's just,
wonderful place. Yes.
It's just amazing. And I was there about just about noon on July Tuesday, when the temperature's 111 degrees and the Coachella Valley is empty, and there was probably 40 people in line ahead of me. And I'm standing there saying, what? I'm just asking myself, what is their secret? I mean, their burgers are good. I mean, but they're not great. They're good. but I looked at that menu, and you had a choice of a single patty or a double patty and French fries. And what kind of drink did you want? That's it. They don't offer, all the different things. You got to stay and look at the board for 20 minutes to figure it out. You go in there, you know what you want, you know what you're going to get, and it's just a very easy way. Other than having, even with that, because it's such a limited item list, that 40 people, I was through it in about 10 minutes. So I think at that point, you just can't try to be all things to all people. Pick your market, like Frank says. Pick your product and focus on it, and don't once you have success like they have had, they haven't gone out and added 18 items to it. They don't, they're just doing what they do, sticking to the basics. And I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said, Frank, as far as that. So.
Can I jump in? I have two stories there. Okay, one we all know our favorite Italian food place in Indio, and I contend that their menu is way too large. And so I consult with this computer store, which I brought the boss in and sat him down with the menu, and I said, "Read out loud this menu to me." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. In the restaurant business, you want them to order quick, turn that table in 20 to 30 minutes, get another cover, right? Get another, that's where you make money. If it takes them 20, 30, 40 minutes to read the menu to make a choice, that's just too big, not including the inventory and everything else that goes along with it." Anyway, as he's reading the menu, we got to page 3 of probably a 10-page menu, and it was 20 minutes. I said, "Okay, that's enough." And I said, the lesson here is the menu's too big. Now, we go back over to his store, and there's this huge board with all these various things that they do, and, virus checks and this thing and data backups, and it's too big. The clients, you can see them watch and look at that. They're paralyzed. They don't know what to do. I said, you need 4 choices. That's it. Package 1, 2, 3, or 4. We put everything else in there. And then, if we end up that they need an a la carte menu, we'll talk to them specifically about what they need. Well, anyway, that's the first story with that. Now, second story with In-N-Out Burger. Dick, did you know that there's an unofficial underground In-N-Out Burger menu?
No, I
Yes.
did not.
Yes, there is.
Okay, for example, when I go to In-N-Out, I do a double animal style. You didn't see that up on the board, did you?
They have
No, I
chili
don't know what
fries.
Yep.
They have peppers. They have numerous things on the side.
Right, and unless you go to the unofficial In-N-Out Burger, they've kind of got this underground loyal lingo. And now it's a tribe. Remember we talked about tribes back a couple of episodes, It's the ultimate in social media tribery. And so double animal style means they take your hamburger patty and they put mustard on it and they fry the mustard with the hamburger patty. Interesting to note. Okay.
And also you can order as many patties as you want.
Yes.
You can order as many patties as you want.
Yeah.
On one bun?
On one bun.
On one bun, yeah.
Well,
you can go 3, 4, as many as you want. No problem.
Yep. Yeah.
My wife, just again, honestly, my wife hates hamburgers from fast food chains. She loves In-N-Out Burger. Well, that doesn't make any sense. She orders from the underground menu. She orders a grilled cheese sandwich, made exactly how she likes it, with no burger patty, just cheese and bread and the special things that she does. And they know exactly what they say. Okay, and she can go to any In-N-Out Burger anywhere that they have and say, "Oh, the grilled cheese." Say, okay, and it's the underground menu, which by the way it's a great marketing tool because you're on the inside. You're in the know if you know.
Right, you're tribal.
It's awesome.
And once you're on the inside like that, once you're part of the tribe, you're not going to leave that tribe.
You're loyal.
Special.
And you're going to invite friends and family to say, "Hey, let me give you a little hint of what's going on here," and they let you in. You bring them into the tribe, and all of a sudden they know about the grilled cheese sandwich or the animal burger that you talk about. But by the way, they're a fascinating company. The founder passed away. His son passed away. It's now being run by a granddaughter, who, by the way, is a very attractive young lady. I say late 20s, early 30s. And she's doing a great job. She's doing a great job of keeping the tradition, and she's not falling for these salads and these grilled chicken crappy stuff that they're trying to add other things. She's sticking to the basics, like you said, Dick. and they got a line waiting for business, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
do.
mean, I couldn't find a parking spot. I go to In-N-Out Burger maybe twice a year. I try to stay away from, I have enough weight issues as it is, but every once in a while we get a hankering for one. But the parking lot was full. There were probably 20 cars in the drive-through lane, and I'm sure there were 30 people ahead of me. And for guys who don't live in the valley, this is a real dead time of the year out here. It's 110, the humidity was up, it was hot as could be, and it was mob still. So, and I guess I don't go enough to become a loyal underground menu orderer of In-N-Out Burger. I didn't know about that, but I'll keep my ignorance as bliss and just keep ordering my double double.
Well, I think we need to have next week's a whole session on the underground menu of In-N-Out Burger. That would be apropos, I would think. And they have a Proteus burger, which is a burger without a bun but wrapped in lettuce for those that are gluten intolerant, and they have a bunch of really cool stuff. But
Yeah.
they have truly done the basics well, and then integrated the social media tribal stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
social media is one thing, but when you can wrap social media into a tribe, then you really got something. You got something on steroids.
Yeah.
One other thing that this young lady, and I wish I knew her name. Probably she's extremely attractive and been married 3 times. It's interesting. There's been a lot of pressure on it to expand because their footprint is so large here in Southern California. And she says no. If she cannot control the quality, she will not expand. And she is
Good for her.
and so as opposed to Crumb's Cupcake, which expanded across on both coasts, if you will, California and the East Coast, she's staying strictly with areas she can control. And tell her she's doing it wrong. I don't think she is. I think she's awesome.
Hey, Frank, do you remember back, it might have been in the early 80s, because they're out of Orange County. They lost their entire upper management with with one of their private jet crashed. Did you know that?
That's when the owners were passed away and eventually wound up in the granddaughter's hands, the founder's granddaughter.
Yeah, now they've made it a rule that none of them can fly on the same jet at the same time. And that is absolutely true. That's been adopted across the United States on a lot of these places.
Yeah.
With private jets or even regular jets, we all travel separately.
Right.
You don't want the brain trust of your entire company to extinguish in one accident like that.
Which is why the 4 of us will never fly together.
Right.
Could be. But I let the butler have the private jet, so he's out with the private jet at the moment. All right. Does that conclude your twin?
My twin is done for this week.
Anybody else want to weigh in before I take us over to my favorite topic here of today?
No,
Okay.
wrap us up with your favorite.
All right, now here we go. Here's my favorite topic of the day. This is dried beef, which, of course, anybody that's been in the military knows what that is. Okay, and actually, Dick, did you see it's 95% fat-free? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
So Dick and I were talking about
Yeah.
chipped beef. Anybody been in the military? It's one of our staples for breakfast and or dinner. And it's creamed chipped beef for the non-military individuals, and even Mark's mother used to make it for them, and they weren't in the military. Mark, huh?
My dad was, though. My dad was.
Okay, well that's probably where it comes from. So I decided that I was going to make some chipped beef. I reminisce, and Dick found me a recipe, and of course we call it in the military SOS. That's our common term for it. And for those not in the know, now we'll let you in the tribe of the military, that you make creamed chipped beef, right? Name of our show today, I think. SOS standing for shit on a shingle. There you go. So I might as well end this into that, and after I lose enough weight to have one meal to put it all back on, I'll do that. So anyway. All right. Well, we're coming up on the hour. Dick, you want to close up with anything?
No, I think we covered some good area today, and you know, I would just if I can leave with one parting message is really make sure that you have a value proposition to offer your prospective clients, and then use today's technology to get it to them and measure it. And to Frank's point, and get and grab you got to grab their interest in the first 30 seconds. So with that, I'll just say goodbye.
Okay, Mark, closing thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Again, I want to thank everybody for inviting me. Again, great information about Google Analytics. I use Google Analytics pretty much every day, and we'll see you next week.
All right, you're actually more of a fanatic about Google Analytics than I am. You have
I
it on your
just try
cell
to,
phone. You watch it.
yeah. Well, it's in real time
Oh, yeah, I know.
tells you so much information that you can use.
All right, Frank?
Yeah, I guess I'll echo what Dick and Mark said. The more I learn about Google Analytics, the more I know I need help because that's nothing I ever want to get involved in, but it's important.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's one of those geek things. And in closing on the value offer, Dick, a plug, agelesssecret.com. We've been working this entire week, which you guys have been part and party to. Here's a anti-aging cosmetic, so to speak, that's offering a 1-year guarantee, money-back guarantee. If it doesn't work, you get all your money back. Who does that if they don't believe in their product? And the product doesn't work, you'd be out of business. That's a value offer. All right, guys, there you go. Say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Good night,
All right,
Dick.
guys, thanks again.
All right.
Yeah.
Hang on.